Tulsi Gabbard went scorched earth on Hillary Clinton. Check it out.
Hillary Clinton, as I said then, is the queen of warmongers.
Right.
In a recent interview, the director of national intelligence told the truth about her history with Clinton and even took aim at the Democrats.
This guy Mamdani in New York as the future of the Democratic Party, and he's a self-proclaimed socialist.
Yeah.
And today, we're breaking it all down because we're not here to follow parties blindly. We're here for common sense. So if you're an independent thinker, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
Hillary Clinton, you've had relations with that are not
Relations.
When you ran for the presidency in 2020, she called you a Russian asset. Why did she not like you?
There are a few reasons. Number one, Hillary Clinton, as I said then, is the queen of warmongers.
Right.
So from a fundamental foreign policy view, what she was advocating for the American foreign policy to be versus what I was advocating for could not have been more different and diametrically opposed.
Libya, for instance, when she was chortling about the brutal death of Gaddafi.
Which is just every time I see that video of her in that interview, really, as you said, we saw and
he died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He died.
And then she laughs.
laughing about it.
Yeah.
Now, on top of that, during a 2016 primaries debate, Hillary proudly mentioned that, quote, Libya was a different kind of calculation and we didn't lose a single person, completely glossing over the 2012 Benghazi attack, which claimed the lives of 4 people, including Ambassador Christopher Stevens. Even Obama was ashamed of the Libya intervention and called it his worst mistake, as there was no plan for the day after. Then there was Afghanistan. Hillary was one of the voices pushing against withdrawal. So, if she had been elected, it's very likely we would have stayed entangled there much longer. However, despite these shortcomings, she had a propaganda machine behind her, which Tulsi expanded on, saying this.
But also seeing how the mainstream media was complicit in this, because even as they touted Hillary Clinton as, and you remember, the most qualified candidate ever to run for president in our nation's history. That's a high bar.
Yes.
That's a very high bar. And yet, when you look at her actual record, they would list off all of these titles, these fancy titles that she's carried, but none of them actually looked at her record of what her policies were as a U.S. senator, what her votes were, what her actions were around foreign policy that would qualify her to be, the most qualified person ever to be commander-in-chief. In 2020, Hillary Clinton choosing to lob these baseless and slanderous accusations against me.
It's her thing. Russian asset.
It's her thing. And she may have remembered me telling the truth about who she really is and her true record for the years leading up to that point.
It's the oldest trick in the book. If you can't beat someone on ideas and you can't shove them out of the spotlight, you go for the smear campaign. The, quote, Russian asset label thrown at her years ago is still following her around, even though it was baseless from the start. During her confirmation hearing, Democrats went so far as to frame her as a potential national security threat, simply because she thinks and acts differently from them. And that's the bigger point Gabbard made. And as she broke down the reasons that made her walk away from the party she once called home, needless to say, she didn't hold back.
To me, you mentioned, the ideology. I was certainly affiliated with the Democratic Party. I was a Democrat. I joined the Democratic Party back in my early 20s because I had to pick one.
Yeah.
And what I saw and was attracted to was really the values that I saw, Dr. Martin Luther King promoting, the values that President John F. Kennedy talked about, and the kind of leadership that he brought. I saw a party that fought for, the struggling working man and woman in America, those who were just trying to take care of their families and put food on the table and provide a better future. And you start to fast forward to see how the Democratic Party changed. And you go from then and you look fast forward to where we are now, where you have people talking about, this guy Mamdani in New York as the future of the Democratic Party, and he's a self-proclaimed socialist.
Yeah.
You look at AOC, same thing.
Exactly. At the core of it, this all comes down to moderates caving into the progressive wing of the party. And ironically enough, Obama himself saw this problem years ago. Back in 2019, he warned about it, saying, quote, "One of the things I do worry about sometimes among progressives in the United States is a certain kind of rigidity where we say, I'm sorry, this is how it's going to be." And then we start sometimes creating what's called a circular firing squad, where you start shooting at your allies because one of them is straying from the purity on the issues. And that's what happened. They kept shrinking their own team until eventually there was no one left to hold the line. And they lost it all in the last elections.
You find yourself on the Quiet Skies surveillance program. You were stopped or delayed 24 times and given extreme searches as if you were a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, it was politically motivated.
Yeah.
There was no other explanation for it other than that. When I spoke to TSA agents in multiple airports who were just doing their jobs, but who, as they went through this extreme and in-depth search of me, and oh, by the way, my husband was also placed on this domestic terror watch list. They were like, why are we doing this with you? You are still serving as a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. You're a former member of Congress. This makes zero sense whatsoever. And hearing that from the folks who are out there on the line every single day further affirmed what I believe to be true, that this could only be real if it were politically motivated.
We've already covered the TSA list in a previous video, but this is where things take an interesting turn. The first time Tulsi went public with this information, CNN actually reached out to TSA for clarification, and they, quote, did not confirm Gabbard was on the list, nor did they give a single detail on why she might have been added in the first place. That kind of silence speaks volumes. If there's nothing to it, why not just say so? Luckily, Kristi Noem ended the program this past June, but there's more to this issue than just placing Gabbard on a highly secretive watch list. And I'll let her do the explaining.
It must
by the
feel
government.
Very violating.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And this is the I think the real implication here is people will see me on TV criticizing Hillary Clinton's foreign policies, criticizing Kamala Harris's foreign policies, talking about how dangerous either one of them would be as president and commander in chief. And then very publicly seeing how the government and the intelligence is being weaponized against me, it can have a very chilling effect on people to say, oh my gosh. And the menacing effect that it has really on sending a message, you better comply or else. You better remain silent or else, because look at what we did to Tulsi Gabbard. Just imagine what we can do to you, and you won't have a platform to speak up about it and expose them for doing exactly what they're doing.
Since there was absolutely zero transparency on this issue, Tulsi's assessment feels more than fair. After all, if there was no valid reason, why would her name ever be added to such a list in the first place? Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep on thinking.